Beautiful. So I'm Zeke Matavosian, and I came across this gentleman here in front of it was the libraries over here, and then what is this building here in front of, please?
Yes, sir, Zeke. This is the representative in City Hall, Councilmember Bob Bloomington. He represents this district in City Hall.
Yeah.
And my complaint here is, of course, a complaint that is filed in City Hall. If you look at the signs here, it clearly indicates victimized by the city of Los Angeles.
Yep.
And then, of course, we have another sign here that's 31-year investment destroyed by a city employee.
Okay.
Within 5 minutes. And then we have another sign over here if you want to get a picture of it.
Okay.
I think you got to go around the other way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's victimized by the Los Angeles city government. That's the LA City Mayor, LA City Attorney, LAPD Internal Affairs, and that's the complaint number that I filed in LAPD Internal Affairs.
Okay.
They completely refused and ignored the complaint. When I went to City Hall delegated the complaint to the city attorney, which the city attorney told me to get a lawyer and sue the city on a third-party basis.
Okay, now please explain that why would they prefer you to get a lawyer and to represent you as a third party instead of addressing the situation, the error in the situation?
Well, I'll start by saying this, Zeke. This is all public knowledge and public concern. But when you look at it from a perspective of why the city attorney does what he does, the way I see the city attorney is that they're actually in violation of United States federal laws under government service, government duty. That is the concern of the public. That is the concern of the citizens of the city of Los Angeles. Because what city employee did to me and the way they're handling the complaint in our LA city government, they could do it to anybody at any time.
Okay.
And it is 100% unlawful. It is against the law, and they're in violation of United States federal laws under government service, government duty.
Okay. Do you want to further elaborate on this? So tell me about the specific, you want to talk about the specific situation? What happened?
Well, again, it's all public knowledge. Basically what happened is that we're a family business of 31 years. My family sold their investment in the business, perfectly legal, perfectly fine. They do no wrong. The new guy was entering the facility. I called the city police because I didn't know this guy from Adam. I had no clue what he is or what he's going to do.
Yeah.
To keep the peace, the police arrive, and I wanted the sergeant to tell the new guy, sir, you have your claim, but in order for your claim to be valid, you need to get a civil court order by a civil court judge to enter the facility.
Yes.
The sergeant at the scene took it upon himself to act as a civil court judge. He acted as a civil legal counsel. He's acting upon the entire civil legal process in the state of California. I was wrongfully arrested out of my desk. Excuse me. I lost my 31-year investment in 5 minutes. I was demanded by the sergeant that I'm an employee with the business. I showed the sergeant at the scene my tax forms. I am 100% self-employed like my family for 31 years. Me and my family, total of 3 separate investors in the business. The sergeant took it upon himself, as to completely wipe out my 31-year investment in 5 minutes. So again,
so in essence, he acted like a judge.
He's acting as a civil court judge. Now, again, the LAPD is a great service, great people.
Yeah.
I met hundreds of great officers,
Yes,
excellent LAPD. But in my case, it was simply, I'm thinking it was simply a wrong decision by the sergeant. And as I said, he took it upon himself as to act as a civil court judge, civil legal counsel, and he's acting upon the civil legal process in the state of California. When I go to court with the new guy, which I wanted the sergeant to tell the new guy, sir, don't enter until you get a court order.
Yeah.
The new guy would have to take me to court, and then I would explain to the judge, because the judge would ask me, what makes you an investor, or how have you invested, all the specific questions under the civil legal process in the state of California. By the time we leave that courthouse, the new guy bought a piece of paper off of a wall. Because in order in the state of California, I took business law, I went to college for business administration.
Yeah.
It's the buyer's responsibility in the state of California, when you're buying into a property, a business, what may have you, it's the buyer's responsibility as to know all investors. Outside of escrow, outside of any process like that, it is actually the buyer's responsibility as to know all investors. And I'm physically sitting at my desk of 31 years when the sergeant literally told me to stand up, empty my pockets, and we're gonna haul you away to jail. They didn't ask me to leave, they didn't detain me. They asked me to stand up, empty my pockets, you're under arrest, you're going to prison. And they took me away to prison for approximately 7 hours.
The charge was trespassing?
They claim that I was trespassing. Now, I cannot trespass
On your own property?
on my own property at my desk of 31 years. That is completely against the law.
Oh, okay, now the question comes to my mind. What at that point would make that officer make the decision to take that person's word over yours? When you're the owner of that property, you're on your own property.
Good question.
Believe him, and he's a trespasser. Believe him, and put you on handcuff, take you away, thinking you're a trespasser when you own that property.
Zeke, you're 100% correct. The only thing that I surmise of the sergeant, as I said, the LAPD is a great service, great people. The only thing I think is that he made the mistake where he thought that because he has a document that may show a couple of signatures or what may have you, I think that he was thinking that the new guy was correct, and for some unknown reason, he's thinking otherwise. So again, I'm not speaking for the sergeant. I'm not supporting his actions. But I'll say this, everything that he did was against the rules and against the law.
Okay, so...
It's what they call a wrongful, unlawful arrest.
Unlawful arrest.
You cannot arrest somebody out of their desk in business when they're there for 31 years physically at their desk. In order for the sergeant to make any arrests, they need a civil court order for that. A judge has to order a person to be either removed or arrested off the property.
Okay. I mean, like, I look at you, you don't have tattoos on, you don't look like it. Sometimes they may be biased because they see something makes them unjustly, like, prejudge the person because of some appearance, some feature. If they have a tattoos on their forehead or on their neck or something, they might judge that that's a criminal. But I don't see anything about you that would trigger a policeman to think that you're a trespasser.
Well, see, again, Zeke, at the scene, we're talking about a patrol officer. A patrol officer, the first thing that they do when they approach a scene is they identify what is the crime and what is civil.
Yeah.
And in my case, I'm at my desk for 31 years working with my family.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the new guy's claiming, I'm physically sitting at my desk. So for the sergeant to make the decisions as a civil court judge, or he's making the decision to arrest me for trespass, it is impossible for me to trespass on that property of 31 years.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know if you know the true meaning of trespass, but trespass is like, for instance, if I jumped over the gate on somebody's property for the first time, or I broke a window and climbed through a window, and I'm sneaking in, I'm intruding on somebody's property. That's typically trespass. See, but if I'm physically sitting at my desk, I was actually conducting business at my desk when the sergeant made these atrocity decisions, created this atrocity in the city of Los Angeles. Now again, we're talking about a clerical issue that the sergeant created. When it goes to City Hall and it goes to the city attorney, it is the city of Los Angeles' responsibility under government service, government duty, as to address this, what they call clerical issue, this mistake. So it's the mayor, the city attorney, the chief of police, LAPD, internal affairs. They're all supposed to collaborate because I send daily emails since this started, 5.5 years daily to city, county, state, and federal governments. Okay, when I went to the California Department of Justice, they immediately responded notifying me that the city of Los Angeles has a 100% civil legal process to handle this complaint. It is their responsibility under government service, government duty for the city of Los Angeles to address this complaint. If that makes sense.
So what happened? You went to City Hall. What is the response you got?
Well, again, I've already mentioned that. I went to City Hall. The City Hall delegated it to the city attorney. City attorney, within a week or two, sent me a denial letter notifying that I get a lawyer and I sue the city under a tort claim, which is a monetary claim. Now, if I did that and I listened to the city attorney, what happens there is that initially all the government responsibility as to reprimand the people that did wrong so they can assure the public that it wouldn't happen again. Everything under government service, government duty, if I got a lawyer, I'd be telling them they don't have to do their job.
So that's why he made that request.
He made that request because, number one, when they finally settle the case and they settle the damages, if I did get a lawyer, it would be like a tax write-off for the city of Los Angeles. But because I'm going through it as a textbook type method, and I'm doing it by the book, I'm doing it exactly by the law, the city government handles the complaint. They settle the case, but when they settle the case, it actually comes out of their working budget. Now, the federal government funds the city of Los Angeles billions of dollars to operate this city. So when you get federal funding from the federal government to run the city, they see one guy out here with these signs, with this I call it a very, very tiny little complaint. The city can't even handle that. They can't even handle one guy with his. I'm actually on the doorstep of the representative in City Hall.
Get the shot of it. So the point is, so the reason they chose that route of going to a third party lawyer was one, that the first one was they would get a tax write-off of the monetary compensation, and the second one was they wouldn't have to acknowledge the error that they made, so that they wouldn't be correcting it. They could go on with performing the same error and having other citizens suffer, such as you have, right? So that they're not looking at what they're doing wrong. They keep on doing what's wrong, right?
Zeke, what it is that the city attorney, the mayor, City Hall, the Ethics Commission, the controller of the city of Los Angeles, Ron Galperin, they're all operating under what they call a conflict of interest of government service, government duty. When they initially have a job to do, they're getting paid to do it. there's public trust involved. I have public trust in the mayor, the city attorney. And again, I'm not an advocate of bringing negativity towards government.
Yes.
I think the mayor, I've seen online that he's a great guy. Mr. Eric Garcetti's done great things for the city. The city attorney, Mr. Mike Enfeur's done great things for the city. The chief of police, Mr. Michael Moore, they're all great people. They're all good people. Why they can't handle this simple little complaint is beyond me.
Yeah.
But this is why I post public notice to the public. This is not a protest.
Yes.
See, public notice is where you're simply notifying the public of these issues and concerns that ultimately affect the public, where if this could happen to me, it could just as well happen to anybody in their residence, anybody in their homes. And the city of Los Angeles is creating this conflict of interest where it's their job initially to get it done. They're getting paid to do it, but because they don't want to do their job, that's what ultimately creates the conflict of interest, because they don't have to put in the time, they don't have to reprimand anybody, and they don't have to seek justice. But this is why we have a city government, because they focus on justice, they focus on fairness, and they focus on the people that did wrong. They make sure that it doesn't happen again, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm learning so much from this conversation, and it may be just one. See, this is what I like. It's a one little tiny case, but from one little thing, you can see everything that's wrong. Which is, I know you don't want to address. You just focus on your little thing, but I'm looking at it, and I can, from this thing, I can see everything that's wrong with every part of society.
But see, on that note, Zeke, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't mean to be rude.
Sure.
See, the point is that if you look at it from a city's perspective, all you're looking at is people doing a job, and if they decide not to do their job and they tell me to get a lawyer and sue them, okay. Initially, the sergeant made the wrong decision. He made the mistake. So they look at it from a perspective of, okay, well, we don't have to do our job. There's nobody telling us we have to do our job. However, they're looking at it where they don't have to do their job. And of course, the sergeant made a mistake. But on the other hand, I lost my entire 31-year investment in 5 minutes. Based on the city, initially city personnel creating it. And of course, they're putting me through this absolute living horror of doing this demonstration here of public notice, living in this condition, because I cannot go back home to Ventura County. If I leave this district, then City Hall will void the complaint in City Hall. I legally have to physically be here. I've been in this area 31 years in business, and it's the city that wiped out my 31-year in business in 5 minutes.
So one thing I'd like to say, what I admire about this, I don't sense any anger from you, that the message, because sometimes people who've been victimized, they're angry, and then they come out the way they handle it with anger, they end up getting arrested because they end up doing something.
Sure.
You saying you're not even protesting. This is a public statement, you said, right?
This is simply public notice. Like you said. All this is intended to do is to bring the concern to the public, where the public looks at and says, not because they're looking at me specifically, but it's to notify the public that this is how their city's operating. When initially the taxpayer, federal funding, all the money that's being allocated to fund our city government, they're there to represent these complaints. They're there as a public service to handle these complaints from start to finish. And if they're going to continuously victimize people, and I have to go through all this pain daily, it's a major concern for the public. It's a major concern for the media.
Yeah.
And when I send my emails to city, county, state, and federal, excuse me, I also send it to Fox News, KTLA 5 News, and CBS News. Only based on public notice, is to put it out there, notify the public, and tell the public that this is how their city's operating. That's the whole cause and effect behind this situation. But again, I just wanted to make a side note here, Zeke, that the reason why I'm not frustrated or agitated or getting, violent or anything of that nature is because I've worked with my dad 31 years. And I could say this, that it has been the best that I could ever ask for. If I ever had a chance to do it again, I would 100% want to work with my father. It's been the best 31 years of my life. And I uphold that same representation, even doing this. Because I don't know if you know what a family business is, but you wear many different hats. You do many different job positions in the business. And of course, the money that you produce in terms of customer pay, that money ultimately goes back into the business to pay all the bills. So you don't in a family business, as us being all self-employed and separate investors, we don't make paychecks like people do when they're when they're actual employees. Does that make sense?
Eric, I just got the feeling that your dad is proud of you.
My parents are the greatest, Zeke, and I could say this, that if I ever get a chance to do it again, I would definitely choose my folks. The greatest.
I really feel touched by this, what you're doing. Really inspired by it, so I'm going to conclude this now, unless there's something more you want to add to it.
Certainly. Sounds great, Zeke, and I want to thank you for the opportunity of the interview. But as I said, everything that I'm telling you here is public knowledge, and anybody and everybody in society can simply ask the same questions.
You got it.
You got it.
Really appreciate it.
Okay, Zeke. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.